because I had to let some energy out this morning. And these Pistons, ooh, man, it's been a long season. It's been a long. We had 78 games, 43 and 35, 8 games above 500. Who would have thought? Not me. Not me. I had us in this season at best at 35 wins. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. They proved me wrong. But there's some things that I definitely want to point out how we're finishing this season. Uh, it needs to change. Now, JB Bickerstaff has done a masterful job. Him and his uh, coaching team. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Luke Walton, but his coaching staff has done a phenomenal job with these Pistons. Even hold them. Uh, and I've been noticing that they've been going small a lot. And at first I was like, man, what the hell are you doing, man? Going small. We're too small already of a team to be going that small. And it clicked for me what he's doing. One, he's experimenting with lineups, but I think he's also recognizing that Marcus Sasser deserves playing time. Marcus Sasser deserves playing, probably has deserved playing this season. And so now he's trying to mix match the lineups, see if he can get him in there, see if he can get him significant playing time and allow him to affect games, because he is. The only thing is that there's some other things in place in order to go small. And that means that you need to have size along that front line and on the wings, which means Ron Holland has to be a bigger factor for this team. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, he played terrible last game. Those of you who listen to me on the lives, I should say X, not on here, but on the live recently on X, I was I was in the spaces and I was pretty hot. I was pretty hot. Ron Holland let me down. I did not effort. I didn't like his energy. I think it looked like he was resting on his laurels a little bit, as if he could relax. And this is the main thing I want to point out for these Detroit Pistons. Look, I don't mind if you're resting guys, if you're resting Duran, you're resting you're getting Cade Cunningham all the breather he needs. Shoot, I think Dennis Schroeder could rest, if I'm honest. Maybe Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley. Give these guys a rest. I don't mind. But you need to play Detroit basketball. You need to play Detroit basketball. Because if you're not going to play Detroit basketball, then what's the point of being out there? What's the point of being out there? This entire season establishment of a brand of basketball. Oh, yo, it was good. Hey, this is an interactive live. So if you're on here to talk Detroit basketball, NBA basketball, yo, I fucks with it. If you're not, yes, I'm going to have people kick you out. Keep it straight up. And here for no BS. I don't play that. I don't do that. If that's what you're here for, we send you on out. But back to these Pistons. They need to finish strong. This is not a team that's been to the playoffs 2, 3, 4, 5 times. This isn't a team who has been to the playoffs, semifinals, conference finals. This ain't a team that has a bunch of guys who can show them the way. This is a squad really that is figuring it out. And to figure it out, they have to be locked in. They have to be locked in. Make no mistake about it. Whether they face the Indiana Pacers or whether they face the New York Knicks, they're facing two teams who have gone deep into the playoffs. They're facing two teams who have straight up championship aspirations. Both of them have plans to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, if not to the NBA Finals. And so when we think about what they're going to face in the playoffs, we're going to have to they don't come in there locked in, 100% locked in. They're going to get swept. They're going to get swept, and it's going to be an ugly sweep, because they're going to get picked apart because of the things that they do inconsistently, the things that they have, how to show up day in and day out, each game, to make sure, checking these boxes to make sure that they can win. If that's going to play, there's no reason to play you. Because remember, the outlook is not to make the playoffs. The outlook was not just to have a better season than last season's 14-win season. The outlook is to win the championship. And to establish that, you have to have championship culture.
You got to have a culture. You have to have a mindset that says we're here to win. We're here to play the best brand of basketball that we can. So, what that means straight off the bat, one, Ron Holland has to be held accountable. I think Ron Holland needs to be playing 20 something a game for the rest of this season. They got 4 more games: Sacramento, New York, and Milwaukee twice. They need to play him at least 20 game. But when they do, hold him accountable. Hold him accountable. If he's not rebounding, if he's not flying around on defense, getting out in transition, hold him accountable. And then put his butt back in the game. One, because we're too small to not have him out there, especially with that bench lineup. And secondly, we're going to need him in the playoffs. In fact, he's probably a bigger factor for this team's long-term future than most of these veterans. Think about the long-term outlook. We recognize that him failing and being held accountable is also part of his learning curve and the development of these Detroit Pistons. As they prepare for the playoffs, they have to know that they can count on a reliable run. They need to know that Ron Holland is going to go out there and know his role and execute it, because the rest of these guys, they're locked in. Look, Dennis Schroeder's jump shot has been off. I'll give you that. If I'm honest with you, I think he needs a breather. He needs a rest. He needs a rest. I think the back-to-back between New York and Milwaukee in a few nights. I think we've got Sacramento tonight, and then we've got 2 days off, and then we have New York and Milwaukee back-to-back. Honestly, I think we need to play the bench in that game against New York, right? We're not going to show all of our cards. We're not going to do that. I think we need to start probably, I would say in that game, start a bench lineup, rest your starters, rest Cade, rest Tim, or you can play Tim. I don't mind playing Tim. But rest Asar, rest Tobias Harris, rest Jalen Duren. Start Stewart in that game, Fontecchio, start Ron Holland, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dennis Schroeder. Come off the bench with Marcus Sasser, Malik Beasley. And then you have some bench guys, Fontecchio, even play Bobby Clintman, Tolum Smith, maybe Jenkins. And then when you face Milwaukee, go back with your regular lineup, but stagger the minutes. Make sure the minutes are set. You don't want them playing 40 minutes, just maybe 30 minutes, and then play the rest of the bench guys. Do you think Ivy's coming back for the playoffs? No. I don't think Ivy's coming back for the playoffs. If Ivy was coming back for the playoffs, I think he would have come back. I don't think he's coming back for the playoffs. And to be honest, I don't want him to. You have a stacked guard lineup right now. Stacked. Stacked. JB Bickerstaff is trying to find playing time for Marcus Sasser, Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. And then you've got Cade Cunningham. These are all guards. If I'm honest, Ron Holland's future position is probably and I was going to get into that a little bit later. So when you look at all these guards that they have to figure out minutes for already, it's like, do you want to throw one more in there who has to figure out his rhythm with only 4 games to go? I doubt it. I doubt it. Dwayne Pritchard, the Pistons have pretended to have this tough image, but as teams have seen what the Pistons, they become softer. Man, get out of here with that, bro. Get out of here with that. Pistons are not coming out here to put out a soft image. The Pistons play a brand of basketball that be physical. It's going to be physical. It's a part of that culture. And what that means is that you're not afraid to tussle and mix it up. Now, there are also guys who naturally play that way. Isaiah Stewart naturally plays that way. He plays, doesn't matter if he's with the Pistons, Sacramento Kings, if he's in Charlotte, he's always going to play that way. So you're thinking that it's like a tough guy image. It ain't a tough guy image. This is just how they play. And everybody's kind of following in line. Jalen Duren is a physical player. He's just big as hell. He's strong. He's what we call an ox. That's what he does. Right? And so when we start thinking about who the Detroit Pistons, I recognize they're just being who they are, who they're choosing to be. Now, if you got to problem that, because your team don't play physical, right? Because your team don't play hard like that. Hey, that's between you and your team. You know what I mean? But don't try to hate on the Pistons. They turned around a 14-win season and now are at 43 wins. Probably going to get to 40 wins on this season. So maybe there's something to it. Because you know who also likes to play physical? Memphis. You know physical? Miami. You know who also plays physical? Right? There's a lot of other teams that play physical. We just so happen to have done it well and stayed relatively healthy, and now we have 43 wins. But yeah, with that said, and I wanted to look into it a little bit because I'm 100% sure Jaden Ivey's not back. I'm just going to quickly take a stab and see what they're talking about in the news for Jaden Ivey. Return to the return. Yeah, I don't think it's happening. The only talk about his eyeing a return was like 3 weeks ago. And then yesterday, Detroit Pistons news saying there's no plan to rush Jaden Ivey back before season ends. And that's a clear sign. That's a clear sign. When they start talking about no, and I've been telling y'all that they're not going to rush him back. There's a reason to. I would not do it. But with that said, when we get at the end of this season, I think what we're going to see is the lineup rotations. They just have to make sure that they're playing hard-nosed Detroit basketball. That's going to set the foundation for who they're going to be as they go into the playoffs, which, like I said, if they don't come in locked in, they might get swept. They might get swept. Jalen Duren, locked in, specifically because he's the type of factor that can put pressure on the team's front court, that can take a lot of pressure off of the rest of the team. when you have most of these front lines are going to be significantly bigger. Significantly bigger. The New York Knicks, Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns, significantly bigger. When you see guys like OG Anunoby, Mikal, right? These guys are big. These guys play on the interior. They rebound at a high level. Josh Hart, they play big. And so when you're thinking about who you're going to be, if you're using your will, they are definitely going to overwhelm you. And I think Isaiah Stewart was able to hold his own. But damn, Zach Edey is a big one. That's a big boy. That's a big boy. 7'4", dwarfed him. Ended up almost like, 20 rebounds in that game? So when we think about how this team prepares, they have to be ready to play the role that they're going to be needed to play, which means Jalen Duren, when he needs to see you offensively aggressive the whole time, because you know your offense relates to your defense. When you're aggressive offensively and you're putting pressure on the other team's opposing big, getting them into foul trouble, getting to the free throw line, dunking, it allows you to be able to keep them on their heels when they get back on offense. And they're more likely to just pass that ball off and not physically aggressively attack the rim. Asar been hooping lately. He has. He has. You know what? I'm not even gonna call it hooping yet. I think he's figuring some things out. I think he's a little bit tired, if I'm honest. I think he's a little bit tired. He hasn't shown that explosive level of basketball that we've seen for most of the season while he's getting more minutes. And I think you're seeing his legs are potentially a little bit more fatigued. I would like us to give him, especially in the back-to-back, when we play New York and Milwaukee, probably against New York. I would say rest him, give him the night off, and let him get his legs under him. But he has been playing. I think he's figuring out how to play in more of a rhythm that allows him to extend to more minutes and not gas himself early on. Because you saw sometimes he's like breathing mad hard, and he's only been playing like 10 minutes, but he's given like 100% the entire time, guarding almost the full court, right? Chasing over screens, trying to get back in front of guys, pursuing the ball. And I think he's gassing himself out. He's learning how to pace himself. And that's important because we're going to need him to be a 30-plus minute per game guy. Every time it's been a long season for him. He came in around late November, mid-November, after the blood clots, hadn't been able to do his endurance training, getting his cardio the whole off season. So he's probably a little bit gassed. I think we give him a night off and let him get back to it. The other guy that I would like to see lock in a little bit more is Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, I don't need him to be great playing for a contract. So let's just get that out the way. He wants to show that he could be a starting level point guard, and I think he is. As long as you're not intending to revolve your offense around him, I think he's a starting level point guard. He's mid to bottom tier starting level point guard, but he's a starter. He effectively gets to the free line. He can score consistently. He can get to that little floater mid range. He has a really nice offensive game, and he's a great point of attack defender. He's on his hands. He gets other guys involved. He does a great job in that regard. I think he's a starting NBA point guard. But I don't need him to prove it every single game, which means I don't need you shooting a whole bunch of threes. I don't need you out trying to shoot 4 or 5 threes in a game. What I need is those paint touches. And it's the same thing that I've been saying about Marcus Sasser. I need paint touches. I need you to collapse the defense, get into the paint, and either look for the floater from about 4 to 8 feet out, or look to kick the ball out to a shooter who's moving off the ball. Fontecchio, I've been saying, I want to see you put the ball on the ground less. I want to see you more of a movement shooter, more like a Klay Thompson. Stay on the move on that perimeter, looking for the ball, catch, shoot. And if you can't get your shot off and it's an over pursuit, okay, take one dribble into the paint, look to get to the rim. If you can't, pass that ball, cut right behind it. Keep it simple. Trying to do shot creation. But what I want to see from Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Sasser is get to the teeth of the defense. This opens up everything for this team. They have a lot of guys who can shoot. Tobias Harris can catch and shoot. Isaiah Stewart can catch and shoot. And that's actually something I want to talk about a little bit also. We got Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley. We got Marcus Sasser. We got a lot of guys who can catch and shoot. I need more guys who can get into the teeth of the defense, can get into the paint and collapse the defense. There's not a lot of guys on this team who can do that. An effective pass out. We got Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, Kingham, and then it goes Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Sasser. The problem is we don't have a lot of guys who play at the same time who could do that. But we need guys in those to open things up for the rest of the shooters. Let me see, I got a couple other points here. He's like 10 pounds of muscle over the offseason. He's going to take off and get more strong around the rim. He already played big for his size. I completely agree. That is a great point. But what I also think it's about size, because he's strong. He's strong. If you watch him play around the rim, he's strong. Guys aren't just moving him out the way. He's getting in there, getting to rebounding, finishing over the top. I think what he needs to do is to really run the shots that he's going to see, because I don't think he recognizes the shot opportunities that he has. I see him drive to the basket. He doesn't even recognize he's got that little jump shot right over the top in front of the rim, and he's right there. I did start seeing after the last game, he started doing a little bit more post footwork, jump hooks, turning his back on like a smaller guard, spinning over the right, jump hook with the left. He does a little bit more floating game, stuff like that, up smaller guards, shooting over his left shoulder, right over the top of a smaller guard. Great job. I want to see some more of that. And I think you're beginning to see he's shooting it more naturally. Even when he had it and he did a little step back, I saw it and at first I was like, oh man, it looked kind of rough. But then I saw the fluidity in which he took that shot. And I think what you're seeing from him and Ron Holland is that they look natural shooting that. They look comfortable shooting that three. In fact, like both of them, they should be on Malik Beasley's pregame shooting routine. Catch, shoot, catch, shoot, catch, shoot, catch, shoot. And then also working those drives to the basket and finishing. The other guy I wanted to point out was Isaiah Stewart, especially when he's starting. I want him more on volume. I want him to become a volume three-point shooter. In the game against the Grizzlies, Isaiah Stewart shot 4 threes. He was 2 of 2 in the first half. And he probably turned down 3 or 4 other wide open threes in the first half alone. Look, Isaiah Stewart, I don't need you shooting, and I don't think any NBA team, big man shooting 50% from the three-point line. It's wonderful if you do. What they're really looking for is that you can be an average, a league average or better volume shooter, like a Brook Lopez, Karl Anthony Towns, Turner, Alex Sarr, Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, right? These are the bigs that they want you stretch the other team out and say, hey, if you shoot 6, you're going to give me at least 2, if not 3. If you shoot 8 threes, you're going to give me 3, And that was a game, especially when he's going up against Zach Edey, dropping way off, sitting in the paint. That dynamic alone completely disrupted the Pistons' half-court offense. And I don't know if you guys noticed that. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Dev, what's good, man? Do you see the Pistons beating the Knicks or Pacers in the first round? I don't think we're playing the Bucks. I don't think we're playing the Bucks. I don't think that we are beating either. There is a chance. There's always a chance. I think the teams that we saw, this is the weak spot of the Knicks. Jalen Brunson's been out. And because he's been out, this team, his team, the Knicks, may not be in the best of a rhythm. They might be kind of figuring it out, adjusting to him being there, not being there. Let me check this last against the Hawks, where they did beat the Hawks, and they did not have Jalen Brunson, who's still out. They're starting DeLon Wright. If Jalen Brunson, I'm gonna be honest, at this point, they're 49 and 28. It's a bad look with 5 games left for the Knicks to not have had Jalen Brunson playing. That's probably the weak spot. That's probably a team that there's going to be a good chance that we can beat them. At the same time, we're going to have to play our asses off. Because if they go big, and that's what I said before, if they go big, if they have Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, it's going to be monstrous. And it can really, really spell doom for the Pistons. But if I'm honest, New York Knicks, they also didn't have, let me take a look at this real quick. They didn't have Brunson, and they didn't have, what's his name? Wow, that's interesting. They didn't have Bridges, I'm sorry, Brunson, and they didn't have the other point. What's the other point guard's name? Their main backup. I'm trying to think of his name. Let me see. Let me go like this. Check the Knicks roster real quick. If they don't have, what's not Bridges? What's his name? Sorry. We'll take a quick moment. Go to Basketball Reference. Let's go like this. Boom. Boom. McBride. That's what I'm thinking of. They ain't got Deuce McBride or Jalen Brunson. But I'm curious. Let me know if you've seen any conversation around Deuce McBride's return. Let me quickly look this up because this is key. I'll be honest. If they don't have Deuce McBride or Jalen Brunson, they're gonna get knocked off. I think we can get them. You know, like I said, I think a lot of our offense is gonna get neutralized because of the sheer size of the Knicks. But if they don't have any type of real legitimate point guard, DeLon Wright is not a starting point guard. I don't even think he's a second string point guard at this stage of his career. And then you got guys like Tyler Kolek coming in behind him, who hasn't played significant minutes in the NBA all season. I think that could be a point of weakness, and I could see us going small against the New York Knicks off the court. That might be shoot. Actually, that might shoot. Hold on, hold on, hold on. That might be what JB Bickerstaff and his coaching staff are trying to figure out. I appreciate this live right now. I know it's a little rough. I haven't done a live in a while, but my mind just put that thing together. If Deuce Bride is not coming back anytime soon, or Jalen Brunson, those two guys don't have their leg. Because Jalen Brunson's injury is a lower body injury, correct? Injury. Let me see. Jalen Brunson is expected to make his return against the Suns, which I think is what? Tomorrow? I want to say it's tomorrow. See. No, that's not even tomorrow. So if he's not coming back tomorrow, and then they face us on the 10th, and then the Knicks play. When did the Knicks play the Suns? I don't. Was he already expected to make a return? I'm trying to check this out. Expected to make his return against the Suns. Yeah. So he was already expected to make a return. Look, I'm gonna be honest. If he doesn't make his return anytime soon, it doesn't make his return. Yo, this is going to be. This might actually be what JB Bickerstaff is counting on. McBride injury. We see in the clear after nagging groin injury. Yeah, if McBride and Jalen don't get back in time where they have a chance to get their legs under them, that might be the angle that JB is actually betting on for the playoff series against them is to go small. Is to go small. But here's the thing. I don't think he needs to go small by playing a Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley Jr., and then Cade or Asar at the four. I just think he needs to speed up the game. I just think he needs to speed up the game. Like he needs to speed up the game incredibly. And I think he can do that with Tobias Harris and Jalen Duren. He just needs to stagger the minutes. He just needs to stagger the minutes because no matter what, and let me really think about this. I could see him playing Asar Thompson at the four behind Tobias Harris alongside Isaiah Stewart. I could see that lineup off the bench. And then with a Ron Holland playing the three. You have Cade Cunningham playing defensively at the three alongside Tobias Harris. He'll start off in the starting lineup, but they'll quickly stagger those minutes. And then you'll see Cade Cunningham probably playing at the three. And then with someone like Dennis Schroeder and Tim Hardaway Jr. attempting to speed up the game. I like that game plan against the Knicks. I like that game plan a lot. Shoot, I'm going to have to do a whole other video on that potential matchup. If they can go small against the Knicks in terms of speeding up the game, pull out Asar Thompson early in the first quarter so you can insert him back at the end of the first quarter as you sit Tobias Harris. And then pace with Ron Holland playing the three, Isaiah Stewart, and then you have Malik and Marcus Sasser or Dennis Schroeder. And then you go Dennis Schroeder coming in early for Asar Thompson, playing alongside Cunningham, Tim Hardaway Jr., and then Tobias Harris. The thing is, they have to really be, and maybe that's why he's also resting Tobias Harris to make sure that he gets his legs under him. This is a very interesting. Usually in these live specific I want to talk about, but this has kind of evolved into a Knicks prediction series. I think he's going to go small. I think if we continue to see in these upcoming games, the Detroit Pistons, Asar Thompson a lot at the four, and then pushing the pace. Which, though, if I'm honest, I want to see Asar Thompson grab rebounds and initiate the break more. And then I want to see Isaiah Stewart shoot more threes. Stewart shooting 6 threes a game, if I'm honest. I want to see him shooting 6. See if he can get 2 out of 6. Just when it opens up. Gets the ball early. Don't shoot it early in the shot clock. Maybe if you're wide open at the top of the key, I get it. But what I want to see is Isaiah Stewart get that ball, get those dribble handoffs. You can dive to the rim. If you can't, you get the ball back out. The ball is getting swung around. You catch the ball on the perimeter. Take that 3. See if you can get to 5 or 6 threes a game. See if you can knock down 2 or 3 of them. That's what I also want to see. Dev, what's good, man? A lot of people got the Pistons beating the Knicks. I'm a Pistons fan to the heart, but I hope they're not overconfident. I'm overconfident against the Knicks at all. At all. That is a well-tested, absolutely ready for all the smoke roster. That squad is not going to look. I have watched the Knicks. I got family from New York. I have followed the Knicks for a long time. Always got love. That is a team outside of Karl Anthony Towns that is built playoffs. Now here's the thing. This is why Karl Anthony Towns is the weak link, and he's a huge weak link if I'm honest, because he gets scared. The big moments. Sometimes he can shine in them, and a lot of times he folds, especially in the playoffs. If you can get him on his heels early, if you can get Karl Anthony Towns on his heels early, that means running gun on the court, getting him fatigued, attacking him at the rim, getting some dunks on him, Jalen Duren posting him up, scoring on him under the basket, right? Isaiah Stewart swatting his shot at the rim. He's not able to get himself going, right? Asar Thompson Harris guarding him well on the perimeter, which I think they're going to be able to do. I think they're going to have an opportunity to get Karl Anthony Towns to shrink. And if he shrinks, it could spell doom for this team. It can spell this team. Dev, what's good? They can let Duren do some post work on Towns as well. I think Jalen Duren to be looking to do post work against everybody at point. Everybody. I don't think there's too many bigs. I'll put it outside of Giannis and B when he's healthy. There is not a big man in the NBA who can defend Jalen Duren in the paint. When he puts his head down, the only person that can stop him from getting his shot off at the rim, Jalen Duren. If he doesn't read the defense correctly and he tries to split guys and hand on the ball, or if he's too passive and he's not actually being aggressive and attacking the rim, if he's taking himself out of the play and he's not looking for the ball, he's not demanding the calling for the ball, that's the only way Jalen Duren doesn't end up with 18 points at the end of the game, 6 to 8 free throws at least. That imposing of a figure. But he's got to be locked in. He's got to have the mindset that says, I am going to aggressively attack the opposing big. I am going to get to the rim. I'm going to get to the free throw line. And I know that this is a team that prides themselves not being guys who hunt free throws. At the same time, there's a difference between hunting a free throw like a James Harden or Trey Young, Jalen Brunson. There's a difference between being those guys who know how to impose their will and get the opposing team in foul trouble by being the initiator of contact and physicality. This is running through guys' chest, which Jalen Duren more than has the ability to do. Cunningham as well. Get those guys in the post, give them a quick pump fake, up and under, and go right into their chest. Finish through them. Put them on their butt, free throw line. Your ability to do that will negate a team's size advantage, but inability to do that will allow them to play to their maximum. And I think that this is the real shift that's going to take place between the Detroit Pistons being able to be a better than the Indiana Pacers in the future, is Jalen Duren's ability to impose will on the opposing center. There's absolutely no reason why Jalen Duren cannot beast out an opposing center like Miles Turner. Miles Turner does not have the physicality nor the footwork to be able to stay with Jalen Duren when he's downhill. He should be looking to attack opposing bigs nonstop. As a matter of fact, he needs to mix it up. He needs to start at himself like an Alonzo Mourning, at least, saying, I should be shooting the ball at least 15 times a game, at least. Which means you need to mix up dribble handoffs between faking the handoff, attacking the rim, and then fake the handoff when you notice your man laying off you, face your man, shoot that little 10 to 15 foot jump shot. You're a good free throw shooter, which means you should be able to hit that jump shot. I need you mixing that up. I need you keeping the defense skills, because that's going to really shift what this team can look like in the future. Are they undersized, or do they have all the size they need with Jalen Duren? The other reason why, now I've also been pointing this out, and I'm going to get to your comment in the section, Dev. I've also been pointing this out about why they need to keep the pedal to the metal, why they need to finish strong. It's because it isn't just about this season. It's about your long-term outlook and who you're going to be. You have to understand the league is shifting. There is an old guard and there is a new guard. There's an old guard that's leaving with the Kevin Durant's, the LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, George, James Harden. These guys are going to be shifting out. Joel Embiid, I don't think he has too much longer before he's out. You got some of these other guys like Drew Holiday, Al Horford. These guys are going to be done. They're going to out. And what that means is the reshuffling of the better teams is going to take place. What you're preparing for is that reshuffling over the next 2 to 3 seasons. That is when you're going to step to your championship window. As those teams fall off and fade, right? Damian Lillard is going to be out. They're already fading. You already see the descent. Chris Middleton already out of there. Now they're trying to get younger and more athletic. When that happens, we want to have a team that's playing championship basketball, to bring guys in to play championship basketball. And so you need to continue to stay focused. Continue to stay focused. Dev, I agree. He has a bag, low-key. Facts, he does. And slowly building confidence. He is. And if I'm JB Bickerstaff, I'm telling him, look, I need you to stay offensively aggressive. You need to be shooting the ball at least 3 to 4 times every single quarter. Every single quarter, you need to be shooting the ball 3 to 4 times, getting to the free throw line, making sure that you're putting pressure on the other team's front court. Now, the only other thing that I would say is this division is about to get deep as hell. Deep as hell. Let me see. Hold on. Let me kick this person out real quick. Yeah. So, but it's to say, this division is about to get crazy deep. The Chicago Bulls have figured out their roster. They've officially figured it out. They got Josh Giddey. They got Montes Buzelis at the core of it. I think they end up going with like an Ayo Dosunmu and a Lonzo Ball in that rotation at the point of attack on defense. And then they're going to have Patrick Williams rotating in with Nikola Vucevic, re-signing Vucevic. They get him for the right price. They'll re-sign him, and then they'll play Zach Collins behind him. That roster is going to be extremely athletic and versatile, and they're going to be able to put a lot of pressure on to pass the ball really well. The contracts line up, and their talent distribution partners, it pairs really well. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a Chicago Bulls that's going to look really good over the next few seasons. They're going to be right there, like right in the space where you see Atlanta right now. You're going to see Chicago in that 6-7 seed. I think we'll see Detroit consistently in that 4-5 seeding area. And I think they can get up to number 3 and number 2 or 1 in probably the next 2 to 3 years. Do I think Duran plays today? I think he plays today because they're also going to have a 2-day break after this before they face the New York Knicks. And then I think that's when Duran is going to take a breather again, and then they're going to play against Milwaukee, a Milwaukee back-to-back. But it's going to be interesting to see how JB Bickerstaff manages the lineup rotations over the course of these next 4 games, because they're essentially playing with house money at this point. They're pretty much cemented at that number 6 seed, which I think that they're more than comfortable with, especially as we just talked about, Jalen Brunson and Deuce McBride being out. I think we're going to see that be a focal point. If they're slow in the backcourt, if they don't have their legs, if they're playing slow, Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, especially with Deuce nursing that groin, he's got a groin issue. Yo, that is a bad look at the end of the season, because you know what he's going to have to do a lot? Fight over screens. You know what he's going to have to do a lot? Deal with Cade Cunningham at 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". So I think this ends up being an extremely intense matchup. I did say before that I didn't think that the Pistons would win, but that I'd actually been thinking of the New York Knicks at full strength. If they're not at full strength, if they don't have McBride and Jalen Brunson at full strength, at least 80%, 90%, I could see JB Bickerstaff and the Pistons going small and trying to run them the hell off the court. Play them just like the Pacers did last year. At this point, it would just be a battle of attrition. to say, hey, even if we lose the first 1 or 2 games, which will be in New York, right? They just push the tempo. And I mean push it, I mean gas them, gas 100 an hour. Because one, the reason why you have to do that is because you can't get caught up in a half-court offense against Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges, or Josh Hart and those guys. If you are in a half-court offense every single time, they're going to present far too much size and length, and they're going to mitigate a lot of what you want to do. That's a Thibs special right there, is to be able to um, uh, pressure you and out-physical you and control the glass and win low-scoring playoff games. But here's the thing. We also know that Thibs overplays his guys throughout the season, meaning that when they get to the playoffs, they don't really have another gear to go to. Gassed easily. And you see the little soft tissue injuries that ends up becoming an issue for them at the end, which it currently is. It currently is already happening. The Thibs effect is already happening. I think what we're going to end up, they're going to end up pushing the pace. I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you. Dev, Justin, everybody who's jumped in this chat and this live, because I wasn't even sure what this live was going to be, but I just knew I wanted to talk about the Pistons and see, and not talk shit about them, but like, talk some Piston shit. But it's to say, yeah, shit. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Do you think the Pistons go small against the New York Knicks? Do you think the Pistons go small against the New York Knicks to beat them? Let me see. Searching for Jerry Garcia. It was good, man. I ain't seen you in a minute. Can K be All NBA first team this season? Because of the league minimum games played, 65 games. There's going to be a lot of guys who did not make that 65 games who are not eligible, and he'll be able to make that. Unfortunately, that also means eligible for the Supermax. That hurts. I'm going to be honest. The reason why that hurts, great for Cade, bad for the Pistons in terms of financial flexibility. They have structured to get to a Supermax contract. You have to not only be playing a certain number of games, you all have to hit certain markers, make the All-Star team, and make All-NBA. But you have to do that before your contract, before the contract kicks in. If he didn't make All-NBA this season, the Detroit Pistons would be paying him significantly less in terms of percentage of their salary cap, which is why I keep saying over and over, this offseason is going to be huge for the Detroit Pistons. Can they re-sign Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren for under $50 million a year combined? The reason why this is so important is because they are core members for this team's championship aspiration. And right this summer, next summer, you know who they're going to have to re-sign? Asar Thompson. You guys do realize he's going to look like what Amen Thompson is doing in Houston. A little bit different in terms of how they play on the ball versus off the ball. But that's how special he's going to look. That's a $30+ million a year player. That's who they're going to have to resign, along with Marcus Sasser. Because here's the thing, Asar Thompson is not going to ever get less valuable. Foreseeable future for the next 10 years, he's not going to be any less valuable than he is today, than he's going to be next season. You're going to take the three more. He's starting to show you what all that he can do. He's going to be just a $30 million a year player. I can see that easily. Look at Amen Thompson right now. Is Amen Thompson right now not a $30 million a year? All the things that he does for you on the court. Hell yes, he is. Asar Thompson is going to be right there with him. Right there with him. But that's a great question about Cade being first team All-NBA. I just don't see too many other guys who have played enough games to be able to beat him out for that. I don't think Tyrese Halliburton has played enough games. Let me just look it up because that's a great question. First team NBA eligible. Let's see who is available. 2025. Who do you think could potentially make it if it doesn't make it? Yeah, talking about the players who will hit the 65 game threshold. First team All NBA predictions. They're looking at Nikola Jokic, SGA, Jan Tatum, and Donovan Mitchell. So you're really talking about Cade Cunningham making it over Donovan Mitchell to become first team All NBA. Then you look Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, Evan Mobley for second team All NBA. Yeah, he's going to be first or second team. Um, yeah, I don't see him dropping the third team. Jaren Jackson, Jalen was definitely had a better season than Jalen Williams. Definitely had a better season. Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Karl-Anthony Towns. Yep, Jaren Jackson. Yeah, you're really talking about him getting it over Donovan Mitchell. I just don't put him over Donovan Mitchell because of the fact that they're the number one seed in the East. Number one seed in the East. He's the best player on that team right now. Maybe not the most important player, but the best player. But yeah, hey y'all, this has been dope. I might do another video about first round match against the Knicks. I might do a little pregame against the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings game, I think it's going to be interesting because we're going to see the lineup. I think JB's going to do a lot of lineups. I think Jalen Duren plays. I want to see the style of play. I want to see Ron Holland play better. I need to see Ron Holland play better. And I'm going to be interested to see this game, especially because we beat them earlier in the season where Jaden Ivey hit the game winner. Like I said, I don't see Jaden Ivey coming back this season. 4 games to go. It makes no sense. Unless he's 150%, I don't think he's going to be there at all. As always, it's your man, 100 Grand Ross of the Rock Never Stops. Appreciate y'all for jumping on with me during this interactive live Pistons talk, NBA talk. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.